Hello everyone, Erica Rock, Spiritual Catalyst, here to create with you a sacred and holy healing container where we can begin to release fear in all of its forms. So what this would entail is for you to come and sit with me, get quiet, get still, and put your hand over your heart and gently close your eyes and begin to breathe into your heart space. The breath helping us tune inwards to all the sensations and experiences that are arising in this precious now moment. And I ask, pray, and intend to invite grace into our space, filling up this healing container. The energy of grace invites us to be washed clean of fear in all of its form. And as you breathe into your heart with each in-breath and exhalation, you feel more safer and safer within yourself, within this container. And that feeling of safety invites you to let go at the deepest levels possible all the forms of fear that show up in our lives. As for most of us, we have been conditioned to respond to much that occurs in our lives with fear first. And in the new paradigm, the golden age, 5D consciousness and reality in which we are going into, there is no place for fear in this new paradigm, in this new reality. So let's begin today by releasing the conditioned response of fear. And this letting go of fear in all form, as much as we humanly can right here and right now, understand that we're just getting the process started. And for many of you, the process has started long ago. We release and let go a little and a little more as we feel safe to let go. So calling in the energy of safety and security in its most primordial form, its raw, authentic form, asking the energy to cradle us in this deep releasement of fear. So continuing to breathe in and out of the heart, focusing all your attention on your heart space. I invite you to either within your mind or aloud repeat after me. In this precious now moment, I consciously and deliberately release the fear of change. I consciously and deliberately release the fear of success. I consciously and deliberately release the fear of failure. I consciously and deliberately release the fear of what my future will bring. I consciously release the fear of making mistakes. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of rejection. I consciously and deliberately release the fear of being seen. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of being loved. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of being wrong. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of being known. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of the unknown. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of lack, of not having enough. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of my own power. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of losing people. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of starting over. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of being too much. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of asserting myself. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of asking for help. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of not being enough. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of speaking my truth. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of facing my emotions. And finally, I consciously and intentionally release the fear of being forgotten. And now let's open the container for you to consciously and intentionally release the fear and speak or think what arises for you. And we'll go silent for a period of time for you to release any fears that arise and you become aware of. And let us end with this one. I consciously and intentionally release the fear of being my authentic self. And take a big breath into your heart. Exhaling with a sigh. And taking a moment to allow our energy to recalibrate. And we will end this practice with grounding. So in whatever way grounding works for you, whether you see, feel, allow, imagine roots coming from the soles of your feet, going down into the earth, or you just have this sinking sensation of merging with Gaia. Whatever feels right to you and that works for you, ground this experience, this healing, this recalibration now. And let us take a vow that from this moment forward, we will become aware of the fears that are holding us back, that are limiting us in any way from our authentic, full expression. And as we become aware of them, we consciously and intentionally release them in that moment with ease, speed, and grace in the most loving, highest destiny way possible. 2025 is the year of releasing fear so that we may quantum leap into a beautiful new paradigm of heaven on earth, of living a life of love, of blessings, of celebration and abundance, and so much more treasures that the infinite has in store for us. And first, we've got to release these fears. We've got to look them in the face, acknowledge them, thank you, because the fear typically is a result of the ego, the false self, the lower self that's trying to protect us from something. So the intentions are pure and good. However, the conditioning has been going on so long that it's like a rote routine, and it's time to break free, because fear, like they say, that there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And whatever our egoic small selves are trying to protect us from, we don't need protecting. We don't need protecting, because we are our own savior. And we can lean on and lean into the light of divinity, the love that's within our heart to carry us through. It's time to release the illusions, break free of the matrix, and elevate.